And it's about more than coffee. We say that often, is coffee is just what we get to use to make a difference. And I think that is one of the things we wanted, 15 years ago when we started asking, what does the future look like? Do we want to look back and say, I just did this job forever? Or do I want to say, I took intentional steps to try to make a difference with the gifts that I've been given? Hey, I'm Micah, and this is my wife, Alicia, and we are Queen Bee Coffee. And we just want to take a minute to share a short story about what the last 10 years have been like. It's been a great ride though. It's been fun. It's been exhausting. It has been exciting. We tell people all the time, having your own business is more than you expect it to be. It is more fun. It is more exciting. It is more exhausting. It is more work. It is more frustrating.
Expensive.
It is more expensive. It is more of everything than you expect it to be.
I think the biggest thing for me has been the provision. I think we had an idea to start a coffee shop because we wanted our family to be together. You were traveling a lot. We wanted more time with our kids. We wanted to teach them things that we just didn't have time to teach them in the course of a day. There were really core truths that we wanted to teach them and values that we wanted them to possess as adults. But the best way to teach those would be to model them. So Queen Bee was kind of a university, I guess, for our family. There were things that each of our kids really loved, like Connor and Claudia were really into music, so we established a stage and an opportunity for them to perform. Amelia Claire really loved baking, so we made treats that were homemade. So we tried to give each of our kids a platform to exercise the things that they loved within the business and be inspired by things and do something about it. We believe firmly that the things that you love and the things that are in you were put there by a creator. You didn't just decide that you liked hospitality. That was put in you to serve and to use in the world around you.
We started in a 300 square foot space in our backyard. That's where our roaster was. That's where we roasted all of our coffee. And we're going to do that in that little space for like 10 years. And it lasted like 18 months before we were trying to figure out what it was going to look like to be in a physical location like we are now at Griffin Street. And we were going to do that at the house because I could roast coffee and continue my corporate job. I could roast at night or on the weekends, and we could fulfill orders.
And the kids could be a part of that. They could
Right.
package, and they could learn why putting a label on straight is important, and they can learn how to count. Not that they didn't know how to count, but they could fulfill orders and package and be a part of the family business.
Right. And we sold our first bag of coffee just right up here on the square. A little concrete strip between the Welcome Center and Southern Roots. That was a market. It was called Courthouse Square Market. So we sold our first bag of coffee in July of 2012 on a borrowed folding table under a borrowed pop-up tent.
And then we moved inside the market.
In January of 2013.
Yep.
We're like, sweet.
They had renovated the market, and we had our first little coffee shop. It was an incubator of sorts for us to kind of figure out flow and processes, and that's where the Panama Joe was born. And I remember someone tasting it, and they said, "This is gonna make you a lot of money." And I was like, oh boy. But it was crazy that we had made a drink that people called by name. And it still blows my mind when people come in and say, "I want the Panama Joe." Like, we invented that.
So I think over the years we've had several pivotal times. When we bought the house, or bought this building from Miss Betty Fields,
It was a mess.
it was a huge mess. Did a complete renovation. Well, I mean, not complete. We did a lot. Completely rewired, replumbed, re-roofed. Like it had no heating in there. We added heating in there.
Yes.
So we did a lot.
It was a complete renovation.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't tear the walls down, but we did a lot. We started off with all used equipment.
Anything we could buy on Craigslist.
Yep, completely used. And I think people think, oh, I got to start a business. I need to buy all this stuff and go into tremendous amounts of debt. And you really don't. You just need to be a little crazy.
And so the day before our inspection, so the roaster has how many jets? Like
40
little jets. So at our roastery in our house, they were fueled by propane. Here we have natural gas. So all 40 of those jets had to be replaced with proper jets for here. And the fire department wanted to come and inspect. We had to do an actual roast before we could get our CO, and we were just days before we were scheduled to open. And that night, all the power went out in the square, in the downtown area, except in our shop. Pasta Max closed. Kirby G's closed. People were coming to our shop saying, how do you still have power? And we still don't know, other than it was the Lord. But had we not had power, we wouldn't have finished the roast, or we wouldn't have opened in time. So I feel like that was probably our first big miracle. It makes me so excited and choked up. The renovations that we did initially were good for about 2.5 or 3 years.
Yep.
And then we had an event here that the Garretts sang, Ryan and Megan Garrett. And so, of course, they brought a lot of people. But there were more people on our campus that day than we've ever known.
Yeah.
And at that point, Mike and I looked at each other and went, something has got to change.
Yeah.
Our flow is off. We just need some help.
Yeah, we had a different counter. It was taller. You checked out over here on the right side, like closest to the door. Like you checked, it was not cool.
So we called our friend Drew Buckner from Buckner's Family Restaurant, and he came and sat with us, and he was so gracious to open up Buckner's notebooks, and he coached us through the things that he has learned, and he looked at our space, and he gave us advice on how we needed to configure things, and you need to move your register to this side, and he was huge in helping us to get over that hurdle and move to the next step. So our initial purchase was just the Queen Bee building and a tiny part of the patio.
Yeah, like almost just past the oak tree out here. Like it didn't need the patio, was just like to the oak tree. When her family was talking about selling, they wanted to sell all of it. We only wanted the building next to us for storage. Like we wanted to be able to put stuff in there because we don't have any space in here. They said they wanted to sell everything. It was all or nothing. That was a huge, I think, leap of faith because it was a lot of space.
And a lot of renovation.
Yeah.
That was another season of a lot of repair and renovation, but we gained the yard, which expanded our musical opportunities and our event space, and the Conflux has been a huge blessing for overflow or for events. So many events have taken place in there, and it's just been fun to be part of those life milestones, graduation parties and baby showers and wedding showers and retirement parties and birthdays, things like that we've gotten to be a witness to because we had the space. There's always been family first. When we started the business, a couple of things that were really important to us were that we didn't lose sight of what was important to us. So that was sort of a promise that we made to our kids that we would close early on the first Friday of every month, and we would do something together as a family. We wanted desperately for them to know that they still were our priority, that no matter what happened with this business, we were a family first. And so we established Family First Fridays. We didn't know how they would save us a lot of months. There were lots of months that they came right at the right time, and had we not had that breather, we probably would have died right here on the floor. We secured a deal with Battle Box. They approached us about putting coffee in one of their subscription boxes, and so we got an order for 6,400 bags of coffee.
Yep. We had to do 20 roasts a day, 5 days a week, for I think 6 weeks, in order to produce the volume that we needed to fulfill this order. But it's one of those things of like, I think you've got to be a little bit crazy to do something like this, but you've got to figure it out in order to make it work. And it was at that point we realized, okay, we need to make a decision as a business. What do we want the future to look like? We're not a 10 location kind of plan, but we wanted to grow, and in order to grow, we needed a new roaster.
So we bought another roaster, which again went into storage for
a few months.
Like,
yeah, because we've got a giant roaster that it literally physically you could not get it in this building. Like it would not fit in here. But we had no idea where it was going to go.
And a friend called and said, "Hey, I know of a building in Forsyth." And so we went and looked at the building in Forsyth, and it seemed to be perfect in location, in size, in application.
But that was a huge turning point for us, is having that additional production capacity that allowed us to step into wholesale more and gain more churches and restaurants and pursue opportunities as far as fundraisers and more private label customers.
I think the people have been one of the greatest things that, we say that this Queen Bee has been more than we expected. I don't think we ever expected our customers to become our people, like our personal people.
Yeah.
Like we would miss them when we went on vacation, or they would become our children's friends, or we'd get to go to their wedding, or we'd get to have their 80th birthday party in our shop. When you think about the things that have happened on this property, from first dates to engagements to people bringing their babies here for us to see, or telling us that they're pregnant. I'm like, how did we make that list? Why are we the people that you would share your life with? We just make coffee. So it's been a huge blessing to get to be part of so many lives and so many facets. It's just really precious to get to share these special times in your lives here in the shop. I don't think we ever expected to love our staff in the way that we do. We made a list of everyone that had ever worked with us in Queen Bee, and there have been 51. There have been 50 girls and 1 boy, and that was Zachary. We tell people all the time that it's been hard, but it should have been much harder. I would say that the joy that we've experienced through Queen Bee, through our employees, through our community, through the things that we've gotten to take part in, it has been just pure joy. There's so many things that have happened on this property that we have forgotten about. Some things that stand out, we had a prom here, for crying out loud, so that was really fun. But I think these last 10 years have really been marked by, I would say, relationships. I would say hard work and teamwork. We have had an incredible team for the last 10 years. The Lord sent just who we needed at just the right time for what He had in store for us. So our staff has been precious. Our community has been precious. Our church was a huge supporter of us in the very early years.
They still are.
Yes, but they really were intentionally pouring into this business and supporting this business. We're grateful for that. So many fun memories that we have of Disney days and safari days and story time and cookies and milk, and the kids that we saw in the pictures that are now driving or graduated, or just we're flooded with so many memories of all the fun things that we've done together. And we just want to say thank you. This was our dream. This was something that we set out to do because we wanted to make our town better. We wanted to make our family better. We wanted to live this out together as a couple. And the Lord has been very, very gracious to us. And we just want to say thank you. This has been a precious 10 years. It has flown by. It has left a permanent mark in our hearts, in our children. I think about all the ways that they've grown and the things that they've been exposed to, and now they're adults and they're living out the things that we hoped that they would learn from it, and it's just precious. We're grateful for Kat and Zach, all that they have seen through this company, the roles that they've played at different times, and gosh, our families, the way that they've come to events and they have labored here and they have supported us. We're just eternally grateful, and we're looking really forward to what the next years hold.